Okay, welcome to our bench update for the week. We have very little progress on any one thing, but a little bit of progress on a lot of things. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of go through that stuff with you guys. So first off, we are going to talk about the Whirlybird group build. We've gotten a lot of good response from several folks, some really great guys in the community that are joining in on this build, and I appreciate that very much, folks. It just really feels good when you do a group build and folks just want to participate. So that's awesome. Thank you. Now this is an NPM kit out of the Czech Republic. Didn't quite know what I was in for. Again, it's another situation of ooh, that box art. You shut up and take my money. I think it was $5. But oh, I might get my money's worth out of this one. Boy, howdy. Let's see here. So the the fuselage was molded all solid. These windows were not open. I went back and I cut them out and I opened them up. There is a couple of pieces of vacuum form material that I could slice this off of and graft that on there. I've never done anything like that before. I thought, well, before we move into that realm of pain and torture, let's first figure out how bad it is to cut out these windows. So we did it, and it's not horrible, but it's also not great. So I've never done this type of thing before. So we are treading in virgin territory. So let's see here, get these guys lined up a little better. There we go. So you can see that some of the windows aren't the same size symmetrically on either side. So we're trying to match that up. The big thing was up here on the top. On the top. Hey, she was in a James Bond movie, wasn't she? On the top. This one looks good over here on the right side, and then this one over here looks like the drawing from. It's like I tried to draw a picture of what this side's supposed to look like. So it's not 100% awesome, but we have hope, and we can get there. There are no actual transparent pieces for windows for this kit. It's pretty specific, so it's not like I can go digging through a parts box full of transparent pieces and just make them fit. I could go with the old studio glass idea where there isn't any actual windows in there, but that's cheating as far as I'm concerned. I do have a request in with my good buddy Lucas C to take a look at this and see if he has any ideas of how we can go about filling this in. I've tried using the Bondex stuff. That didn't quite work very well. For some reason, I think one of the tubes of mine split, and I ended up, or the metal tube is reacting with it. I'm not 100% sure because it has a yellowish tint to it, and it's it's sealed. So I'm wondering if the tube is like reacting with that and giving it like a rusty tone or something. So I'm not sure what's going on there. It was very, very yellow. It just didn't look good. It was like sinus infection stuff. Let's see, this guy here. You guys remember this dude? This is the Eliminator Kit. I have the box lid right here. Ta-da! And we now know why it's called the Eliminator, because it knocked my ass out. We've filled in the trunk seams, and I think what we're going to do, what was suggested to us by one of our subscribers, just fill it in, paint it over. You don't have to have an actual trunk lid back there. I mean, it's a custom car. You don't have to have that in there. So, like, that's a great idea. Let's go ahead and explore that. So we've been filling this all in and getting it looking really, really good. And then we decided to go ahead and fill in this horrible gap that we had right here. It just wasn't fitting together any better than that. So we used some of this stuff, which is 0.02 rod, and that's like human hair thickness. And when you use this type of Tamiya cement with that white styrene, it just turns that stuff into goop, and you can almost like spread it like peanut butter. Not the chunky stuff, the other stuff. And yeah, that worked out really well. So we've been cleaning up this side. We're going to get this side cleaned up, and when we get this side cleaned up, we're going to go shoot some more primer on there, see how we did. And if you don't recall, this has been sitting aside because we had the major paint issue where we used a can of Tamiya red. It didn't shake up right. I didn't shake it up good enough, so we got mostly solvent out, and that ate right through the primer and attacked the plastic. So we've been trying to bring that back. So there's that. But we do have a plan B we can explore, and that is, I found this guy for just 12 bucks. A friend of mine was selling this, so I was like, sweet, okay, cool. Nice to have a plan B. So it's kind of made me a little more gung ho about getting this guy taken care of. So let's try this, and if that doesn't work, then we've got plan B. We can work on that. So that's kind of where we're at with this guy. Everything else in the model is done, chassis and everything else. We just have to get that body to look good and put some color on that. This little dude here, I don't think I've done a video on this in a long time, but the mirror fell off, and then the little winglets in the front here fell off. So he's waiting to get those glued back on. And then also my 1950 Mercury Woody Wagon, which I think I actually built before I started doing videos. I have to put the mirror back on there. I found the hood ornament. I found that a little while ago. And the roof rack had broken off, so I glued that back on. So now I just have to put the mirror back on there. And that can go back into its display case. But yeah, it's just all kinds of craziness. We went over to our friend Iceman Collections yesterday, popped over to his place really quickly and bothered him for a little while. And he was selling figures. I think I grabbed two grab bags, 25 bucks a piece. And it was just random stuff. So it was awesome. And then I did sit down, I spent some money on these guys here. It's his Back to the Future figures. These look great. I'm sorry, the camera's not giving us the best images in the world right now, but these guys look great. And it's really getting me to want to build some of my DeLoreans that I have for the Back to the Future kits. But the grab, the random grab thing, I was able to got this. I guess this is a car hop. I'm not 100% sure. Whatever she's holding, looks like it might have been a drink or something. Got broken off. But let's see here. Random gun dude. That's awesome. Let's see here. We got, who's this guy? Oh, that's a gal. Random gal. She reminds me of Scarlett from G.I. Joe for some reason. So maybe I'll paint her up like that. But I want to get into doing some figure painting. Oh, there's The Rock. That's the bacon of actors, man. You put him in a movie, I'm going to watch it. But I think this is from his Hobbs and Shaw movie. But or Roadblock from G.I. Joe. I don't remember. He was a good Roadblock. But I want to get into doing some figures and stuff. And what comes in model kits isn't always very detailed. And I think that's Dean from Supernatural. And he had an attached bag until I dropped him in the driveway on my way in the house. I was so excited I dropped my Dean. And then I got a Ghostbuster. Check it out. That's Ray Stantz, everybody. The heart of Ghostbusters. Give it up for Ray. And then let's see, got Winston Zeddemore. Winston's one of my favorite characters. And of course, there we go, Mr. Oh my God, Mr. Spengler himself, Egon. Lindy always calls him Eugene. I don't know why. And then Mr. Murray, Mr. Bill Murray, just being lazy. And of course, Sam. And Sam's got that special revolver they had. If you ever watched the show, you know what that gun's for. That's the demon killing gun. So yeah, I was able to get all that stuff over at Joel's. But we were chatting away about this, that, and whatever. And we got to talking about the work truck grill that he's coming out with. This guy here, this is freaking thing of beauty. I tell you what, it is beautiful. It's molded open like that. That's makes it extremely delicate, but it's also just so nice. So I went and I dug out my Gus kit. I've been working on this thing for forever. I started working on this just before I sold that truck, so it was like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And I cut out the front portion here because I was like, oh, if this is molded open, then we could cut that out and put in a radiator. That's going to look cool. And I've done a little smoothing out in the back here in order to help this fit a little better, because it does actually have a bit of a different dimension than the original piece. So I'm kind of just trying this out, see how it fits, and I'm going to get back to Joel about what we've been finding on this guy here. But I'm really excited about that because I want this truck to be done, and he was just an awesome piece of automotive engineering, and I miss it very, very much. So there's that. So that's where we're at right now. Oh, the Salvino's car. Gosh, I almost forgot about that. Salvino's car. Didn't do much with the chassis. That's just sitting over here off to the side. We've been focusing on the body because the decaling, that's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing for us because I'm not really the best decaler in the world. It's a weak point for me. So I want to focus on making sure this is as good as it can possibly get before we start doing the decals. So, we did that roof rail up here and merged that on and made that look good. And we finally got the primer all, all built up and matched, because you know, otherwise it looked like a piece that was stuck on there, because you know it's a piece that's stuck on there. Now it looks like it belongs there, and I like how that looks. So there we go. So I got to give a shout out to Clay Kemp for doing a really nice video about how to do that. It just made it look so simple, and it really was, to fix that. But yeah, we've been sanding on this guy here. I just did a quick primer on this so I could see how this was supposed to look. And then when I was doing a wet sand on it, I was burning through the primer here and there. So I was like, oh, we're gonna walk that back. So we've had about three rounds of primer on this guy here, just to make sure everything's perfectly smooth and hunky-dory. So we're sitting pretty. And then that brings us to the next thing. And I'm gonna pause for a second because I have to dig out the decals. Okay, decals have been dug out. So I'm going off of stuff like this here. This goes along over the top of the window, I presume. Yes, yes. And I figured that's supposed to be the closest to the body color right in there without a whole lot of shading on there. There's a much larger side decal here, but there seems like there's a lot of checkered flag shading going on there. Now, we had on hand AS16, and a viewer commented and said that Jim Rogers himself had said that it's probably more of a closer match of AS20. So I sprayed a spoon with AS20, and I thought, well, that's not bad looking, that's okay. So then I went and I sprayed another spoon with some AS16 that we had on hand. I'm like, wow, that's a big difference. That's like McDonald's vanilla shake and McDonald's chocolate shake, you know? If you've had a shake lately, if you had a shake lately at McDonald's, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm like, this seems like it's really beige. But when I go up to the decal sheets, the camera is probably not going to be. I cut all my fingernails off yesterday. That was stupid. Good Lord. There we go. Okay, so this is the AS20. I'm seeing that as being a little too pale. So then I tried the AS16. Ding, ding. That looks a lot better. I think I'm going to stick with the AS16. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to go with that. So we do want to say thank you so much. I'm sorry, I can't remember who commented and said that, but and I apologize, but I do want to thank you so much for stepping in and saying, hey, listen, it could also be this color too, because it got me to think. It got me to think and do a test and make sure that everything is copacetic and good to go. So I want to say thank you again for that. All right, we're going to go ahead and sign off. We're going to say thank you so much to everybody for watching and participating in our channel. We appreciate that so much, me and Mrs. BG. And we also want to say thank you because we know there are a lot of channels out there that focus on model car building and model building in general. And we want to say that we appreciate you for wanting to spend your time with us. So again, we'll talk to you all a little bit later on, guys. Bye now. Boy, I missed that truck. That thing was hot. And not just because the air conditioner didn't work.